Welcome to beautiful Dash Point State Park. This is one of those state parks that's right in the middle of urban parts of Puget Sound. Tacoma is just a few miles that way, Seattle is a few miles that way. Right outside the park are the suburbs of Federal Way. But it's a wonderful little park that has a lot of trees, a lot of miles of trails to hike on, and we're going to explore. There's one image here that I'm looking for, so I'm going to go ahead and go hike for that image, and I'll show you the park. Look at this sweet little beach. Isn't it great? Low beach. So at low tide, it goes way out into the Puget Sound. And once you're out there, out in the middle of Puget Sound, you can see all the way up north and you can see all the way down south. You can actually see parts of Seattle and parts of Tacoma from out here. And you've got this great little stream that goes all the way through the ravine of the park. But isn't it gorgeous? It's shallow enough that boogie boarders will come out here quite often and play in the summertime. And right now we've got a lot of birds. It's early in the morning. It's going to be a gorgeous day here in Puget Sound. So I expect the day use area down here to be very full. The parking lot will fill up by noon, I have a feeling. And people will be out here playing in the surf and playing in the water. Lots of kids splashing around. Right now I saw an osprey flying around not too long ago. So lots of wildlife out here, boaters. The campground is just up on the hill, and it usually fills up during the summertime. Even though it is real close into the city, it is still a favorite spot for people to come camping because, it wasn't too long ago that this was wilderness. It wasn't in the midst of suburbs. And people would come here as a quick getaway from the city or from Seattle or from Tacoma to come camp with the kids. And generations. I have been here, and there have been grandmas, mom, dad, kids, all camping together because that's what they always did, even back in the 1930s and 1940s when this park was established. So it's a family heritage kind of a sort of place, and it's just a lot of fun to come here, and people love it here. It is a part of their story, a part of the history. So we're going to go ahead and get the pack on and start hiking on the trails, and let's have fun. I'm looking at these bushes with these really cool flowers on them. I'm not too sure what bush this is. This doesn't really look like a native plant to me, but I'll have to look it up. Bees are loving it, and I'm loving the sweeping, curving lines of this bush, and I'm trying to figure out if there's an image here or not. We do have a bit of a wind, so they're very light and airy, so they're just kind of bouncing up and down. And I might have to think about this. These are really cool, and wouldn't be. I'd love to try and get an image, but let me think about it. Try and figure out the best way to do that. I think I found a composition here that I like. I'm just kind of going up this one branch here, and I'm getting a few of these other little branches of flowers, arcs in behind. I'm kind of shooting wide open. I'm going to try and get a couple of aperture, kind of bracket with my aperture, just because I'm not too sure exactly where I'm going to fall off here, and I'm a little afraid that I might fall off too much in some places. Like this branch here might fall off if it's just outside that frame of focus. But I do want to keep the shutter speed pretty fast because it still is moving a bit, especially with the little bees going around and about. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple images here. Now, when I first got here, there was maybe a dozen cars in the parking lot. And as I was coming up from the beach, I passed about half a dozen families who had unpacked their cars, had buckets in hand, kids in tow, beach blankets, picnic baskets, kites, all sorts of accoutrements for a fun day on the beach. And while I've been hiking on the trail, quite a few people have been passing me. A few people jogging along, some people coming from the campground, some people coming from the neighborhoods. This is just a very all-use park, and it's a little bit, you can still hear cars going across on the bridge above the ravine here, but you still get this sense of natural wonder in this park. There's a lot of city parks in Washington State, especially the west side of the mountains. And this is one of those that seems to have a special place in a lot of people's hearts. A lot of memories, a lot of adventures. So we're going to just be hiking around, not too much. I don't want to be here too long. I am actually only here for specifically one image, and I'm hoping the light plays well with me. It might not. So we'll just keep hiking, and hopefully the clouds will part just enough to get the perfect light. Hi, look behind me. The clouds are kind of getting thinner. They're getting happier. So I'm going to be happy. I think I'm just going to go straight to the grove I'm looking for and get some photos from there. And that should be a good day for me to get the pictures of this maple grove that I've been wanting to get. One of the fun features that everybody seems to have a memory of is this fallen log here that somebody started sliding down, and it's turned into a slide, and kids love coming here to be able to play on this slide. And I have friends my age who have said, hey, did you go to the wood slide? So there's this wood slide back here. If you come to Dash Point State Park, you might want to slide down your butt down on it. As far as I know, there's no splinters.
Hey, that's crazy!
It's crazy. It's so much fun! So of all the times I've been coming to this park, I've been trying to capture this bridge. This is a beautiful bridge. It's going across this little stream, and it starts taking up the ravine up into the upper part of the park. And today just seemed like a good day. There's not a lot of harsh light. It's overcast. The sun keeps peeking through, so it gives me hope for when I get to the maple grove that I'll get some really nice directional light. But right now it's just this beautiful soft box of light on this bridge right now. And I'm going to go ahead, and I've got it framed up so that I've got the bridge going across the top, and these two ferns right here, one on either side. They are kind of intersecting each other, but that really doesn't bother me right at the moment. I was trying to get them separated, but the more I pulled back, the more they got together, started getting juxtaposed together, but the more I liked the image that I was composing. So I'm going to go ahead and get this. It's at a quarter of a second. Um, so I might get a little, I'll get movement in the water, which is perfectly fine for me. I do have my polarizer on, but I don't have it so that's blocking out all the reflection, just part of the reflection on the water, because if I put it on that takes away all the reflection, it just turns into a brown, muddy mess. And I want people to see that there's this creek coming through here that is kind of a glittering, glistening little creek. So 2-second timer to avoid camera shake. And looks pretty good to me. So let's move on. In this forest, is what, or the differences, the forest differences, maybe I should say that, in this park is one of the things that really excites me about this park. There's a lot of different little micro ecosystems, I guess you could call them. But you have forests that are alder. You have forests that's a mixture. You've got open, wide forests, most of these alders, but just an open, airy sort of a forest. A dark, dense forest. Although we have great light. I'm really excited about seeing my maple grove. We just look at this luscious forest. Though it's been a great weekend here, and I'm sure the parking lot is getting fuller and fuller as I'm walking. Once I got above the campground, I've seen hardly anybody. I've run into maybe 5 hikers, a trail runner, and a mountain biker. And that's been within the last 15 minutes. Nothing. I mean, it's really kind of empty up here. So if you're looking for solitude, maybe not peace and quiet, you might be able to hear the jets above. But the solitude here, there's still solitude. Even though it's a popular park, even though it's right in the middle of the city, even though people come here constantly on the weekends and fill up the parking lot, fill up the beach, they aren't filling up these woods and they aren't filling up these trails. The trails down below the campground, the ones that lead to the beach, they're usually a little bit fuller than this, and that's where I saw most of the people. But look at this. There's just really nobody around. And you might have seen this little structure behind me here. This one right here. This is new. I haven't been back to the park for a couple of years. I usually come here, especially in April when the woodland wildflowers are out. The trillium are huge here. And I bring out a couple of hikers, mountaineers, hikers, and we explore the trails. We can usually, with all the interconnecting trails, you can hike out here all day long, but we usually do about a 4 or 6 mile hike so that we can look at the trees, the birds, some of the early woodland wildflowers. But this is new. This looks like it was built by an Eagle Scout. It was an Eagle Scout project. 26, has it been that long since I've been up here? Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's a bird watching platform. Look at the place you get to watch birds. And look at this forest. It's one of those dense forests filled with big leaf maples. The big leaf maples I love. And the reason I love these maples, oh my gosh, they are stately trees to me. They are beautiful, high-reaching, stately trees. They reach up in the sky above your head. They are twisted. They are gnarly. The leaves, there's a reason they're called big leaf maple. I remember when I was a little girl, like 5 years old, and be raining, and I'd see a big leaf maple leaf on the ground. I'd pick it up and hold it over my head, kind of like you see the kids in the tropical places with banana leaves. They hold them over their heads as umbrellas, and I remember that. And plus, look at the moss on those trees. I mean, just look at that moss just clinging to the trees. The trees, we'll go over here to where it's a little bit, you might be able to see a little bit better. See how the bark is cracked and gnarly, and holds moisture really well. And of course, moss loves moisture. Look at this wonderful root system here. But it holds moisture, which is the perfect place for moss to grow, ferns to grow, and other little baby big leaf maples to start growing. It's just magnificent trees, and I love them so much. And I'm here to try and capture a grove of these. And actually the grove is going to be down further on this trail down here. So we see this trail going down here. We're going to be going down that trail, and the grove is going to be just beyond this grove that I'm wanting to capture. And with any luck, the clouds are parting every now and then, so we'll get some nice light on them. But I was hiking on the trail and turned a switchback and saw this beautiful, beautiful vignette back here with the maple leaves backlit by the sun, just making them glow translucently. And so I set up a composition with this log here, this one stump, and a branch that's arching with the backlit leaves. And I think it kind of makes a nice little vignette of what this forest is all about. You don't really need more than this to know that we're in a forest, and it really does help tell the story of the forest. So since the wind is picking up and I do have my image, I am going to go ahead and tear down and then continue on. I believe my grove is below. I'm hoping I didn't miss it. I may have, but I don't believe I did. So I think it's still a little bit further down. Well, I'm feeling a little sheepish right at the moment. I started hiking down the hill and kept thinking, I didn't think my grove was that far down the hill. Didn't think my grove was that far down the hill. And after that last stop where I photographed the light coming through the maple leaves, all that beautiful translucent backlight coming through the maple leaf, I stopped and going, I remember getting to the maple grove farther up the hill. And then I realized my remembrance of getting to the maple grove is so wrong. I remember going through some conifer trees to get here, and you don't go through conifer trees to get here. This is the maple grove. The maple grove we originally stopped at up at the top up there at the bird watching platform. This is the maple grove I love about this park. So had to traipse back up the hill. We're back here. I'm going to spend some time photographing the maple grove. When the light comes out, I'm hoping I can get a pano of this maple grove. It is just, I think a panorama will be a really wonderful way to capture this. So at this point, I'm just going to kind of settle in for a little while. There's a little scene over here. I'm looking at some ferns and moss on a maple tree. I might even try going up further, but I'm going to wait for the light. There's some breaks in the clouds coming in and out, as has been going on all day long, so I'm just going to kind of wait for that to happen, and then I'm going to come back and try and get a panorama of this, and I think that will work really beautifully. And then let's try this again. The battery died. Not too sure where I was in my last spiel, so we're going to start from the top. So I've got this framed up right here, nice little image. This big fern, the sword fern in front, and then the smaller ferns in back with the moss-covered trunk. And I think it's really kind of a nice little image. I'm loving the mottled light on the fern. I'm going to go ahead and grab an image really quick because the breeze keeps coming through and bopping the ferns around, which I'm at a 13th of a second, which is not fast enough to slow down the fern fronds. Back to 2-second timer. Ooh, this might be pretty right here. Oh, that darkens again. That's one of the problems with photographing in forests and cloudy days, because the light comes and goes, and you set up your exposure for one instance, and the next instance it's gone. I did, as the sun had come out, I did go ahead and take a pano of the grove out over here, and not positive I'm going to like it very much. Very harsh lighting coming through the trees. I love the backlight on the leaves, but lots of really harsh light coming in. The sky is getting blown out. The trees against the sky are, silhouettes. So going back up to the top, I think might be a better, or somewhere along the trail coming down might be a better image. I really do love this light coming through though, and backlighting everything. And I think I've got the image I was looking for here. And, oh,
hi.
Don't mind me, I'm just videotaping myself. So, I think I have the image I wanted here, so I'm going to go ahead and start meandering up the trail and finding out what else we can find. Well, I think I'm going to call this a video, and we'll see how the grove images turned out. Hopefully I will be pleased with them. If not, I think I need to take another trip back to Dash Point State Park, and I'll, of course, bring you with me. I hope you enjoyed today's little adventure out here. There's a lot of wandering around, but you got to explore a lot of really cool forests and a state park that is extremely popular, but you can find little pockets of solitude everywhere here. It's within the Seattle and Tacoma area of the Puget Sound, so close by if you're in the area. And I really encourage you to stop by and hike the trails, dip your feet into the waters of the Puget Sound. And if you liked the content, if you liked what you saw, you want to see more, I've got more adventures. There are over 120 state parks, so there's at least 120 adventures right there. But if you like what you see, please subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload a new image, and follow along. I'm really excited to bring you along with me. So until next time.